Imagine a world where your feelings don't push you around. Picture yourself staying cool when others get angry, or keeping hope alive when sadness tries to take over. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it's not just possible. It's a skill you can learn. This is the power of making your mind stronger than your emotions. We all know that feeling when emotions take the wheel. Maybe you've yelled at someone you love because you were stressed, or eaten a whole tub of ice cream when you were sad. These are examples of our emotions being in charge. But what if I told you that your mind could be the boss instead? That's right. You have the power to choose how you react, even when your feelings are going crazy. Now, you might be wondering, so what? Why does it matter if my emotions are in charge? Well, let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're at work and your boss criticizes your project. If your emotions are running the show, you might get angry, say something you regret, or even quit on the spot. But if your mind is stronger, you could take a deep breath, listen to the feedback, and use it to improve. See the difference? When we let our feelings control us all the time, we often make choices we're not proud of later. We might hurt people we care about, miss out on opportunities, or sabotage our own goals. It's like being on a roller coaster that never stops, exciting sometimes, but mostly just exhausting and scary. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. You can learn to make your mind stronger than your emotions. And the best part? You don't need any special equipment or a degree in psychology. All you need is the willingness to learn and practice. Having a mind that's stronger than your emotions doesn't mean you stop feeling things. Emotions are a natural and important part of being human. They help us connect with others, warn us of danger, and add richness to our lives. The goal isn't to get rid of emotions, but to learn how to work with them instead of being controlled by them. When your mind is in charge, you can experience your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. You can be sad without falling into depression, or angry without lashing out. You can feel the fear of trying something new, but still find the courage to do it. It's like being the captain of a ship in stormy seas. The waves, your emotions, might be big, but you're still steering the ship, your life. This skill isn't just useful for avoiding problems. It can also help you create a happier, more fulfilling life. When your mind is stronger than your emotions, you can make decisions based on what's truly best for you, not just what feels good in the moment. Build stronger relationships by responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Achieve your goals by staying focused and motivated, even when things get tough. Find peace and contentment, even in difficult situations. Understand yourself and others better, leading to more empathy and compassion. Sounds pretty good, right? But I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, I'm going to share 5 simple but powerful ways to make your mind stronger than your emotions. These tips come from ancient spiritual practices, but you don't need to be religious or spiritual to use them. They're practical tools that anyone can learn and apply in their daily life. Before we dive into the specifics, I want you to know something important. This is a journey, not a destination. Making your mind stronger than your emotions is a skill, like learning to play an instrument or speak a new language. It takes time and practice. You won't be perfect at it right away, and that's okay. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep practicing. Think of it like going to the gym for your mind. Just like you wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights on your first day at the gym, you shouldn't expect to have total control over your emotions right away. But with consistent practice, you'll get stronger and stronger. As we go through these tips, remember that everyone is different. Some methods might work better for you than others. That's perfectly normal. The important thing is to try them out and see what feels right for you. You can always adjust and adapt these techniques to fit your own life and personality. Also, keep in mind that while these methods can be incredibly helpful, they're not a substitute for professional help if you're dealing with serious mental health issues. If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, or other mental health concerns, please reach out to a qualified professional for support. Now, are you ready to start this journey towards a stronger mind? Great. Let's dive into our first tip for making your mind stronger than your emotions. Our first tip might sound too simple to be true, but it's incredibly powerful. Breathe and pause. When emotions are running high, our breath often becomes shallow and quick. By consciously taking a deep breath, we create a moment of pause between feeling an emotion and acting on it. This tiny gap can make a huge difference. Here's how it works. When you feel a strong emotion bubbling up, take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a moment, then slowly exhale through your mouth. As you do this, imagine you're creating a space between you and your emotion. This space gives your mind a chance to step in and take charge. Let's look at an example of how this might work in real life. Imagine you're in a heated argument with your partner. You feel anger rising, and you're about to say something hurtful that you know you'll regret later. This is the perfect moment to use the breathe and pause technique. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, then slowly breathe out. In that pause, your mind has a chance to step in and say, "Wait a minute, is this really how I want to handle this situation? What would be a better way to express how I'm feeling?" That brief moment can be enough to stop you from saying something you can't take back, and instead choose a more constructive response. The beauty of this technique is that you can use it anywhere, anytime. You don't need any special equipment or a quiet room. You can do it in the middle of a stressful meeting, while stuck in traffic, or when your kids are driving you crazy. It's like having a secret superpower that you can use whenever you need it. At first, you might find it hard to remember to breathe and pause when you're in the heat of the moment. That's okay. It takes practice. One way to build this habit is to practice when you're not feeling strong emotions. Set a reminder on your phone to take a deep breath every hour. Or make it a habit to take a deep breath before you start your car, or every time you sit down at your desk. The more you practice when things are calm, the easier it will be to remember when things get heated. As you practice this technique, you might notice something interesting. The simple act of taking a deep breath can actually change how you feel. It's like hitting a reset button on your emotions. You might find that after taking a deep breath, you feel a little calmer, a little more centered. This is because deep breathing activates your body's relaxation response, helping to calm your nervous system. Remember, the goal isn't to get rid of your emotions. If you're angry, sad, or frustrated, those feelings are valid and important. The breathe and pause technique simply gives you a moment to acknowledge those feelings without being controlled by them. It's like pressing pause on a movie. The scene is still there, but you have a moment to decide how you want to respond to it. As you go through your day, look for opportunities to practice this technique. Maybe when you feel stress creeping in as you look at your to-do list, or when you feel irritation rising as someone cuts you off in traffic. Each time you remember to breathe and pause, you're strengthening the muscle of your mind, making it a little bit stronger than your emotions. Our second tip for making your mind stronger than your emotions is to name your feelings. This might sound too simple to be effective, but it's a powerful tool used by therapists, mindfulness experts, and emotional intelligence coaches. When we give a name to what we're feeling, we start to understand our emotions better, and this understanding gives us more control. Here's why naming your feelings works. When you're in the grip of a strong emotion, it can feel all-consuming, like it's taken over your whole being. But when you pause to name that feeling, you create a bit of distance between you and the emotion. It's like you're stepping back and observing the feeling, rather than being completely caught up in it. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're about to give a big presentation at work. Your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, and you feel like you might be sick. In this moment, you might just think, "I feel awful." But if you take a moment to name your feelings more specifically, you might realize, "I'm feeling nervous about messing up, and I'm excited about the opportunity to share my ideas." See the difference? Instead of one big, overwhelming feeling, you've identified specific emotions. This does two important things. First, it helps you understand yourself better. Second, it gives your mind something concrete to work with. Once you've named your feelings, you can start to address them more effectively. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Close your eyes if that helps you focus. Notice any physical sensations in your body. Is your heart racing? Are your muscles tense? Is your breathing shallow? Based on these physical cues and your thoughts, try to name the emotion or emotions you're feeling. Don't worry about getting it right. Just go with your best guess. If you're having trouble, try using this sentence: "I feel emotion because reason." For example, I feel frustrated because this task is taking longer than I expected. At first, you might find it hard to name your feelings accurately. That's okay. Like any skill, this takes practice. You might start with basic emotions like happy, sad, angry, or scared. As you get better at it, you can start to use more specific words like disappointed, anxious, proud, or content. One helpful tool for this is an emotions wheel. This is a chart that shows different emotions, from basic ones in the center to more specific ones on the outer rings. You can find these online or in apps. Looking at an emotions wheel can help you find the right words to describe how you're feeling. As you practice naming your feelings, you might notice some interesting things. You might realize that you often feel more than one emotion at a time. For example, you might feel both excited and nervous about a new opportunity. Or you might notice patterns in your emotions, like feeling irritable when you're tired or anxious when you have too much caffeine. This increased awareness is a big step in making your mind stronger than your emotions. When you can accurately name what you're feeling, you're better equipped to handle those feelings. If you realize you're feeling lonely, you can reach out to a friend. If you notice you're feeling overwhelmed, you can take a break or ask for help. Remember, the goal isn't to judge your emotions or try to change them. All emotions are valid and serve a purpose. The aim is simply to acknowledge and understand them. This understanding gives your mind the upper hand, allowing you to respond to your emotions thoughtfully rather than react to them blindly. As you go about your day, try to pause every now and then and name what you're feeling. You might be surprised at what you discover about yourself. And each time you do this, you're building the strength of your mind, making it a more effective leader in the dance with your emotions. Our third tip for making your mind stronger than your emotions is to watch your thoughts. This might sound a bit strange at first. After all, aren't we our thoughts? Well, not exactly. This tip is about learning to observe your thoughts as if you were watching them on a movie screen, rather than being caught up in them. This practice comes from mindfulness and meditation traditions, but you don't need to be a Zen master to use it. It's a simple but powerful way to create some space between you and your thoughts, which in turn can help you manage your emotions better. Here's how it works. Imagine your mind is like a sky, and your thoughts are like clouds passing through it. Some thoughts are light and fluffy, while others are dark and stormy. The key is to remember that you are the sky, not the clouds. You can watch the clouds, thoughts, pass by without having to jump onto each one. Let's look at an example to make this clearer. Say you're working on a difficult project and you start to feel stressed. You might have thoughts like, I can't do this. I'm going to fail. Everyone will think I'm stupid. Normally, you might get caught up in these thoughts, believing them completely and feeling more and more stressed. But with the practice of watching your thoughts, you'd approach it differently. You'd notice these thoughts arising, but instead of getting tangled up in them, you'd observe them like this. Oh, look at that. There's a thought that says, I can't do this. Interesting. And now there's another one saying, I'm going to fail. My mind seems to be in worry mode right now. Do you see the difference? Instead of being swept away by these thoughts and the emotions they trigger, you're observing them with a bit of distance. This distance allows your mind to step in and say, these are just thoughts. They're not necessarily true, and I don't have to believe them or act on them. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down where you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to relax. Now, instead of trying to clear your mind, which is really hard, just watch whatever thoughts come up. As each thought appears, try labeling it. You might say to yourself, planning thought, or worry thought, or memory thought. If you find yourself getting caught up in a thought, that's okay. Just notice that it happened and gently bring your attention back to watching your thoughts. Do this for about 5 minutes to start with. You can gradually increase the time as you get more comfortable with the practice. As you do this exercise, you might be surprised at how busy your mind is. That's completely normal. Most of us have minds that are constantly buzzing with thoughts. The goal isn't to stop thinking. That's not possible. The goal is to change your relationship with your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true or that you have to act on it. Thoughts come and go. Even the most intense or unpleasant thoughts don't last forever. You have a choice about which thoughts to engage with. Just because a thought pops up doesn't mean you have to follow it. This realization can be incredibly freeing. It means that when an emotion-triggering thought comes up, like, I'm not good enough, you don't have to believe it. You can observe it, recognize it as just a thought, and choose not to engage with it. Watching your thoughts like this can help you manage your emotions better because many of our strongest emotions are triggered by our thoughts. If you can create some space between you and your thoughts, you can often defuse the emotional charge before it builds up too much. For example, let's say you're about to have a difficult conversation with a friend. You might have thoughts like, this is going to be awful, or they're going to hate me after this. These thoughts could trigger feelings of anxiety or dread. But if you're practicing watching your thoughts, you might notice these thoughts arise and say to yourself, oh, look at that. My mind is predicting the worst again. That's just what minds do sometimes. I don't have to believe these predictions. This doesn't mean the conversation will be easy, but by not getting caught up in catastrophic thinking, you're giving yourself a better chance of staying calm and handling the situation well. Remember, like all skills, watching your thoughts takes practice. Don't get discouraged if you find it difficult at first, or if you keep getting caught up in your thoughts. That's completely normal. The key is to keep practicing, gently bringing your attention back to observing your thoughts each time you notice you've been swept away by them. As you practice this skill, you're strengthening your mind's ability to step back and observe, rather than immediately reacting. This is a key component of making your mind stronger than your emotions. It gives you the power to choose how you want to respond to your thoughts and feelings, rather than being controlled by them. So, as you go about your day, see if you can catch moments to practice watching your thoughts. Maybe when you're waiting in line, or during your commute, or even when you're brushing your teeth. Each time you do this, you're building your mind's strength and resilience, making it better able to navigate the sometimes stormy seas of emotions. Our fourth tip for making your mind stronger than your emotions is to practice gratitude. Now, you might be thinking, what does being thankful have to do with controlling my emotions? Well, it turns out that gratitude is like a secret weapon for our minds. It has the power to shift our focus and change our emotional state, often faster than we might expect. Here's how it works. Our brains are naturally wired to pay more attention to negative things. This made sense for our ancestors who had to constantly be on the lookout for dangers, but in our modern world, it can leave us feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Gratitude helps balance this out by deliberately focusing on the positive aspects of our lives. When you practice gratitude, you're training your mind to notice and appreciate the good things, big and small. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it's about widening your perspective to include the positive alongside the negative. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're having a really tough day at work. Your computer crashed, you spilled coffee on your shirt, and you're behind on a big project. Your emotions might be a mix of frustration, stress, and maybe even a bit of despair. This is where gratitude can step in and help. Take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for, right in that moment. It might be, I'm grateful for my coworker who helped me recover my files when my computer crashed. I'm thankful that I have a spare shirt in my office drawer. I appreciate that I have a job that challenges me and helps me grow. See how this shifts your focus? You're still acknowledging the difficulties of your day, but you're also reminding yourself of the good things. This can help reduce the intensity of negative emotions and bring a sense of balance to your mind. Each night before bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for from that day. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for the tasty lunch you had, or the funny meme a friend sent you, or the warm shower you took. Try to be specific. Instead of just, I'm grateful for my family, you might think, I'm grateful for the way my partner made me laugh today. If you want, you can write these down in a gratitude journal. As you make this a regular practice, you might notice some interesting changes. You may start to spot things to be grateful for throughout your day, almost like you're on a scavenger hunt for good things. This can gradually shift your overall mood and outlook, making you more resilient when faced with challenges. Gratitude can be especially powerful when you're in the grip of a strong negative emotion. For example, if you're feeling angry or frustrated, Pausing to think of things you're grateful for can help dial down the intensity of those feelings. It's like changing the channel in your mind from things that are going wrong to things that are going right. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate negative emotions entirely. It's normal and healthy to feel the full range of human emotions. The aim is to prevent these negative emotions from taking over completely, and gratitude can be a powerful tool for this. You can also extend your gratitude practice to include other people. Expressing thanks to others not only boosts your own mood, but can also strengthen your relationships. This could be as simple as sending a quick text to a friend thanking them for their support, or telling a family member how much you appreciate something they did. As you practice gratitude, you might find that it becomes easier over time. Your mind will start to naturally notice things to be grateful for, even in difficult situations. This is a sign that your mind is getting stronger, more flexible, and better able to manage your emotions. So, as you go about your day, try to sprinkle in moments of gratitude. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, or as you're eating a meal, or before you go to sleep at night. Each time you do this, you're training your mind to focus on the positive, building its strength and resilience in the face of life's ups and downs. Our fifth and final tip for making your mind stronger than your emotions is to visualize calmness. This might sound a bit like daydreaming, but it's actually a powerful technique used by everyone from athletes to business leaders to manage their emotions and perform at their best. Visualization works because our minds don't always distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you picture a calm, peaceful scene in your mind, your body often responds as if you were actually there. Your breathing might slow down, your muscles might relax, and you might feel a sense of peace washing over you. This technique is especially useful when you're feeling overwhelmed by strong emotions. It gives your mind something positive to focus on, interrupting the cycle of negative thoughts and feelings that can sometimes take over. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to relax. Now, imagine a place where you feel completely calm and at peace. This could be a real place you've been to, or a place you've made up in your mind. Try to make this place as vivid as possible in your imagination. What do you see? What sounds can you hear? What does it smell like? Can you feel a breeze on your skin or the warmth of the sun? Spend a few minutes just being in this peaceful place in your mind. Let's look at an example of how this might work. Imagine you're feeling really stressed about an upcoming presentation at work. Your emotions are running high. You're feeling anxious, maybe a bit scared, and your thoughts are racing. This is a perfect time to use visualization. You might close your eyes and picture yourself sitting on a peaceful beach. You see the clear blue water stretching out to the horizon. You hear the gentle sound of waves lapping at the shore. You feel the warmth of the sun on your skin and the soft sand beneath you. You smell the salty sea air. As you focus on this calm scene, you might notice your breathing slowing down, your shoulders relaxing, and your anxious thoughts starting to quiet. The great thing about visualization is that you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't need any special equipment or a lot of time. Even a quick 30-second visualization can help calm your emotions in a stressful moment. Use all your senses. The more senses you involve in your visualization, the more real it will feel to your mind and body. Practice regularly. Like any skill, visualization gets easier and more effective with practice. Try doing it for a few minutes each day, even when you're not feeling stressed. Have a few different calm scenes ready. What feels peaceful to you might change depending on your mood or the situation. Maybe sometimes you'll want to imagine a quiet forest, other times a cozy room with a fireplace. Make it personal. Choose scenes that feel genuinely calming to you. If the beach doesn't do it for you, maybe it's a mountaintop, or a favorite room in your house, or even an imaginary planet in space. Visualization can be especially helpful when you're facing a situation that tends to trigger strong emotions. For example, if you often feel anxious before important meetings, you might take a few moments before the meeting to visualize yourself feeling calm, confident, and speaking clearly. This can help set a positive tone in your mind and body. Remember, the goal of visualization isn't to avoid or suppress your emotions. It's to give your mind a tool to help manage those emotions when they threaten to overwhelm you. It's like having a calm, quiet room you can step into whenever things get too chaotic. As you practice visualization, you might find that it becomes easier to calm yourself down in stressful situations. You might even notice that you start to feel more relaxed in general. This is a sign that your mind is getting stronger, more resilient, and better able to handle whatever emotions come your way. So, as you go through your day, look for opportunities to practice visualization. Maybe when you're waiting in line at the grocery store, or sitting in traffic, or lying in bed at night. Each time you do this, you're building your mind's ability to create calm, even in the midst of emotional storms. Now that we've covered these 5 powerful techniques for making your mind stronger than your emotions, I want to share a personal story about how I've used these in my own life. This isn't just theory. These are real tools that can make a big difference in how we handle our emotions and navigate life's challenges. A few years ago, I was going through a really tough time. I had just lost my job, a long-term relationship had ended, and I was feeling pretty lost and overwhelmed. My emotions were all over the place. I was angry, sad, anxious, and sometimes all of these at once. It felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster that I couldn't get off. One day, after a particularly rough morning where I'd snapped at a friend who was just trying to help, I realized something had to change. I couldn't keep letting my emotions run the show like this. That's when I started learning about these techniques for making the mind stronger than emotions. At first, it wasn't easy. I remember trying to do the breathe and pause technique when I was feeling really angry, and it seemed impossible to take that deep breath. My emotions felt so strong, like they were physically pushing against me. But I kept at it, practicing even when it felt silly or useless. Slowly but surely, I started to notice small changes. One day, I caught myself before I said something hurtful to a family member. I took that deep breath, created a pause, and was able to express my frustration in a much calmer way. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. The name your feelings technique was a real eye-opener for me. I realized that a lot of times when I thought I was just upset, I was actually feeling a mix of different emotions, maybe disappointment, fear, and frustration all at once. Being able to identify these specific feelings helped me understand myself better and figure out how to address what was really going on. Watching my thoughts was probably the hardest technique for me to get the hang of. My mind always seemed to be racing, especially when I was upset. But as I practiced observing my thoughts without getting caught up in them, I started to see patterns. I noticed that I had a tendency to catastrophize, to imagine the worst possible outcomes in any situation. Once I could see this pattern, I could start to challenge these thoughts and not let them control my emotions so much. Gratitude was a game changer for me. Even on my worst days, when it felt like everything was going wrong, I made myself think of at least one thing I was grateful for. Sometimes it was as simple as, I'm grateful for this cup of coffee, or I'm thankful for my comfortable bed. It didn't magically fix everything, but it did help me maintain some perspective and not get completely swallowed up by negative emotions. Visualization became my go-to technique for calming down quickly. I created a mental image of a peaceful garden with a bubbling stream and colorful flowers. Whenever I felt stress or anxiety building up, I'd close my eyes for a moment and visit this garden in my mind. It was amazing how quickly this could help me feel more centered and calm. Now, I want to be clear. Using these techniques didn't make all my problems magically disappear. I still had to deal with being unemployed and healing from my breakup. I still felt difficult emotions. But these tools gave me a way to manage those emotions instead of being controlled by them. They helped me think more clearly, make better decisions, and not push away the people who were trying to support me. There were definitely setbacks along the way. Some days, I'd forget to use these techniques and I'd find myself back in that emotional whirlwind. But each time this happened, I tried to be kind to myself and just start again. I realized that making your mind stronger than your emotions isn't a one-time achievement. It's an ongoing practice. Over time, I noticed bigger changes. I was handling stress better at job interviews. I was able to talk about my past relationship without getting overwhelmed by sadness or anger. I was making decisions based on careful thought, rather than just reacting to my emotions in the moment. One of the biggest changes I noticed was in my relationships with others. By managing my emotions better, I was able to communicate more clearly and listen more effectively. This led to deeper, more meaningful connections with friends and family. Looking back now, I can see how far I've come. Don't get me wrong, I still have emotions, and sometimes they're still intense. But now, instead of feeling like I'm at the mercy of these emotions, I feel like I have tools to work with them. My mind feels stronger, more flexible, and better able to navigate the ups and downs of life. I share this story because I want you to know that these techniques really do work, but they take time and practice. If you're struggling with strong emotions right now, please don't get discouraged. Start small, be patient with yourself, and keep practicing. Remember, every time you use one of these techniques, even if it doesn't seem to work perfectly, you're building your mind's strength. Your journey might look different from mine. Maybe you'll find that some techniques work better for you than others. That's okay. The important thing is to keep working at it, to keep strengthening your mind. Because when your mind is stronger than your emotions, you're better equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. You can experience your feelings fully without being controlled by them. You can make choices that align with your values and goals, not just your momentary emotional state. As we come to the end of our journey exploring how to make your mind stronger than your emotions, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned and talk about how you can move forward from here. We've covered 5 powerful techniques that can help you gain more control over your emotions and lead a more balanced, fulfilling life. Breathe and pause. This simple yet effective technique gives you a moment to step back from your emotions and choose how to respond. Name your feelings. By identifying and labeling your emotions, you gain a better understanding of what you're experiencing and how to handle it. Watch your thoughts. Observing your thoughts without getting caught up in them helps you realize that you are not your thoughts, and you don't have to believe everything you think. Practice gratitude. Focusing on what you're thankful for can shift your perspective and boost your mood, even in difficult times. Visualize calmness. Using your imagination to create a peaceful mental scene can help calm your mind and body when emotions are running high. These techniques aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that you can start using right away in your daily life. But remember, like any skill, making your mind stronger than your emotions takes practice. You won't become a master overnight, and that's okay. The key is to be patient with yourself and keep at it. So, where do you go from here? Here are some suggestions to help you put these ideas into action. Start small. Don't try to use all these techniques at once. Pick one that resonates with you and focus on practicing it for a week. Once you feel comfortable with it, you can add another. Make it a habit. Try to incorporate these practices into your daily routine. Maybe you do a quick gratitude practice while brushing your teeth, or take a moment to name your feelings during your lunch break. Be consistent. Even on good days when your emotions aren't giving you trouble, keep practicing. This will make it easier to use these techniques when you really need them. Keep a journal. Writing about your experiences can help you track your progress and notice patterns in your emotions and thoughts. Be kind to yourself. There will be times when you forget to use these techniques or when they don't seem to work as well as you'd like. That's normal and it's okay. Just acknowledge it and try again. Share with others. Tell your friends or family about what you're learning. Explaining these concepts to others can help solidify them in your own mind, and you might inspire someone else to start their own journey of emotional mastery. Seek support if needed. While these techniques can be very helpful, they're not a substitute for professional help if you're dealing with serious mental health issues. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health professional. Now, I have a challenge for you. For the next week, I want you to try using at least one of these techniques every day. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Pick the one that feels most doable for you right now. At the end of the week, take a few minutes to reflect on how it went. Did you notice any changes in how you handled your emotions? Were some situations easier to deal with? What challenges did you face? Remember, making your mind stronger than your emotions is a journey, not a destination. There's no finish line where you suddenly have perfect control over your feelings. It's an ongoing process of growth and learning. But with each step you take, with each time you practice these techniques, you're building your mental strength and resilience. I'd love to hear about your experiences as you start putting these ideas into practice. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content on personal growth and emotional well-being. And don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights might be just what someone else needs to hear to start their own journey of making their mind stronger than their emotions. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of how to make your mind stronger than your emotions. Remember, you have the power to shape your reactions and responses to life's challenges. Your emotions are a part of you, but they don't have to control you. With practice and patience, you can develop a mind that's strong, resilient, and capable of navigating even the stormiest emotional seas. So, are you ready to start strengthening your mind? The journey begins now, with the very next emotion you feel. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. As we wrap up our discussion on making your mind stronger than your emotions, it's important to reflect on the transformative power of these techniques. We've explored 5 powerful tools: breathing and pausing, naming your feelings, watching your thoughts, practicing gratitude, and visualizing calmness. Each of these methods offers a unique way to create space between your immediate emotional reactions and your responses, allowing your mind to step in and take the lead. Remember, the goal isn't to suppress or eliminate your emotions. Emotions are an integral part of the human experience, providing valuable information and adding richness to our lives. Instead, the aim is to develop a harmonious relationship between your mind and your emotions, where your mind can guide and channel your emotional energy in productive ways. This journey of strengthening your mind is ongoing. It's not about reaching a perfect state where you never feel overwhelmed by emotions. Rather, it's about continually building your capacity to navigate your emotional landscape with greater ease and wisdom. Each time you practice these techniques, you're reinforcing neural pathways in your brain, making it easier to access a state of calm and clarity even in challenging situations. As you move forward, be patient and kind with yourself. There will be days when managing your emotions feels effortless, and others when it seems impossibly hard. This is normal and part of the process. What matters is your commitment to keep practicing, to keep showing up for yourself day after day. Consider this journey as a form of self-care and personal growth. By investing time and effort into strengthening your mind, you're not only improving your own life, but also positively impacting those around you. As you become more adept at managing your emotions, you'll likely find that your relationships improve, your decision-making becomes clearer, and your overall sense of well-being increases. Remember, you have the power within you to shape your responses to life's challenges. Your mind, when trained and strengthened, can be a powerful ally in navigating the complexities of human emotions. Trust in your ability to grow, learn, and become stronger with each passing day. Thank you for embarking on this journey of emotional mastery. May your path be filled with growth, insight, and an ever-strengthening connection between your mind and your emotions. Here's to a future where you're not just at the mercy of your feelings, but in a beautiful dance with them, led by your strong and resilient mind.